A room, not a dramatic room, not the kind of room films usually care about, just a quiet room at the end of a long day. Outside, traffic moves through the darkness. A television flickers in a neighboring apartment. Someone laughs somewhere beyond the walls. And in the center of the silence, a single person sits alone. No phone, no conversation, no music, no distraction, just stillness. Most people would look at that scene and assume something is missing. Company, connection, belonging. But what if the opposite is true? What if, in that moment, nothing is missing at all? What if some people do not experience solitude as an absence, but as a return? For generations, society has repeated the same story. Humans are social creatures. We need people. We need tribes. We need communities. And the story is true, at least partially. Our species survived because of cooperation. Long before cities, before nations, before language became sophisticated enough to describe loneliness itself, survival depended on staying close to other humans. To be separated from the group was dangerous. Isolation often meant death. The human brain evolved inside this reality, and traces of that ancient world still exist inside us, even now. Thousands of years later, hidden beneath modern life, hidden beneath skyscrapers and smartphones, hidden beneath every notification that briefly reassures us that someone, somewhere, remembers we exist. Researchers have discovered that social rejection activates many of the same neural systems involved in physical pain. The brain does not merely dislike exclusion. It treats exclusion as a threat, an emergency, a signal that something may be terribly wrong, which creates an unsettling question. If the human mind evolved to fear isolation, why do some people actively seek it? Why do certain individuals close the door, silence the noise, step away from crowds and feel relief instead of anxiety? Why do they come alive when everyone else leaves? The common assumption is simple. These people are lonely, perhaps damaged, perhaps antisocial, perhaps afraid. But the deeper researchers looked, the stranger the picture became. Because many people who love solitude are not lonely at all. In fact, some of them report greater psychological stability than individuals who are constantly surrounded by others. The distinction sounds subtle. It is not. Loneliness and solitude are not the same experience. Loneliness is the pain of being disconnected. Solitude is the pleasure of being connected to oneself. And the difference between those two states may reveal something profound about the architecture of the human mind. Consider what happens when most people enter silence. At first, nothing. Then thoughts begin to surface. Small thoughts, forgotten thoughts, unfinished thoughts. The brain starts replaying conversations, mistakes, regrets, questions, possibilities. Eventually, many people feel uncomfortable. Not because silence is painful, but because silence removes distractions, and distractions often serve a hidden purpose. They protect us from ourselves. Researchers noticed something strange when participants were asked to sit alone with their thoughts. No phones, no books, no entertainment, just 15 minutes of quiet reflection. Many participants reported that the experience was unpleasant. Some became restless, others anxious. A surprising number preferred receiving mild electric shocks rather than remaining alone with their own minds. Think about that. Given a choice between silence and discomfort, many people chose discomfort, not because they enjoyed pain, because they feared what silence might reveal. And this is where the psychology of solitude becomes fascinating. People who genuinely enjoy being alone appear to possess a different relationship with their inner world. The silence does not feel empty. It feels inhabited, not by imaginary friends, not by fantasy, but by curiosity, reflection, observation, an internal landscape rich enough to explore. Most people assume solitude lovers are escaping society. Often, the opposite is happening. They are entering a conversation with thoughts that cannot be heard when the world is speaking too loudly. History is filled with individuals who understood this instinctively. Philosophers disappeared into forests, Writers locked themselves away for months. Scientists took long, solitary walks. Mystics withdrew into deserts. Artists vanished into quiet rooms. From the outside, it looked like retreat. From the inside, something else was occurring. A search, because some discoveries can only happen when nobody else is present. Civilization celebrates visibility. The modern world rewards exposure. Every platform encourages expression. Every algorithm rewards engagement. Every system pushes attention outward. Yet beneath all the noise, another force exists. A quieter force. Ancient, persistent, almost biological. The desire to withdraw, not permanently, not completely, but long enough to hear something deeper than the crowd. This creates a paradox. The same species that built cities also created monasteries. The same minds that invented social networks also seek empty beaches. The same humans who fear isolation often fantasize about disappearing, for a weekend, for a month, sometimes forever. Something inside us is constantly negotiating between connection and separation, between belonging and independence, between the tribe and the self. And perhaps the people who love solitude are not abnormal. Perhaps they simply hear that negotiation more clearly. Researchers studying personality discovered another unexpected pattern. The individuals most comfortable alone were often not those with the weakest social skills. Many possessed strong emotional intelligence. Many maintained meaningful relationships. Many were fully capable of social success. They simply did not require constant stimulation from others to feel complete. This distinction changes everything. Because dependence and connection are not identical. A person can be surrounded by friends and still feel empty. Another can sit alone in a silent room and feel whole. The difference is not external, it is psychological, perhaps even philosophical. And here the story becomes larger than personality, larger than psychology, larger than loneliness itself. Because beneath every human life exists a question rarely spoken aloud. Who are you when nobody is watching? Not when society is observing. Not when friends are listening. Not when expectations are shaping behavior. Who remains after the audience disappears? For some people, that question is terrifying. For others, it is freedom. The people who love solitude may be responding to something most of us spend our lives avoiding. The encounter with the self. Not the performed self, not the social self, not the digital self. The deeper self, the one that exists beneath identity, beneath reputation, beneath performance. And perhaps that is why solitude feels so strange, because in a world obsessed with connection, solitude forces a confrontation, not with other people, but with reality itself. The silence in the room was never empty. It was waiting for the moment when the noise stopped, waiting for the moment when distraction surrendered, waiting for the moment when a human being finally sat still long enough to hear what had been speaking softly all along. And that voice may reveal something unsettling. The greatest mystery in a person's life has never been other people. It has always been the person sitting alone in the dark, believing they already know who they are.